and welcome to Cawthra Reads. I'll be introducing our panel today. My name is Sasha, and on today's panel we have myself reading The Handmaid's Tale, Maya reading Crime and Punishment, and Lorena reading Big Brother. Today we will decide what Cawthra should read next by looking at which novel creates the best reader response, including emotional, moral, and critical thinking engagement, based on the question, which novel provides the most engaging setting for characters' identity to be explored, and how does their identity change while navigating said environment? The treatment of women is unjust. Seen as the child bearer in many cultures, a woman's purpose is often regarded as nothing more. The way we build her society oftentimes discredits women and has, since the Victorian era and likely prior. Progress on women's rights has certainly been made since then, like the legalization of a woman's right to vote that officially included all women in 1940. And yet, it seems like achievements come in waves, receding just as they progress, with states in the U.S. such as Arizona banning abortions as recently as 2022. In The Handmaid's Tale, the author, Margaret Atwood, puts her character in a dystopian world where all the events and treatment of women has occurred in real life. A declining birth rate causes a coup of the government, where the new governing power assigns all the power to men. The wealthiest, the commanders, controlled the lives of their once successful wives, their maids, and their handmaidens. Our protagonist is a handmaiden. She is fertile, and she was given a choice. She moves from family to family, essentially acting as a surrogate for the commanders, hoping to provide them with a child. And having a child saves her from being shipped off to a labor camp to clean toxic waste, until her flesh turns to water and her bones to dust. Offred, the protagonist, embodies a woman's battles in a man's world. Atwood writes her character into a world where a woman is forced to submit to man, a treatment many in the past are familiar with, and many in the present continue to fight against. The relationships and emotions in the novel are innately dystopian, but the further you navigate the story through the eyes of Offred, the more connected to reality you feel. I believe Cawthra should read my book because it uses its fictional world as a vessel to deliver very complex ideas to a broad audience and a variety of thinkers. The book also makes you question how our society is built and the ways women are disadvantaged, and have been, across the world and throughout time. And more importantly, it makes you ask the question, why?
When it comes down to the exploration of identity, not every novel can get it right. Today I'm going to dive into my book Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky and why the oppressive and urban environment reflects the protagonist Raskolnikov. His identity initially starts with him being an extraordinary man, but then is quickly unraveled to a harsh reality. Now, emotionally, a lot of readers are connected to Raskolnikov's internal conflict, and they obviously grapple with his justifications with murder. It seems he is entitled to commit murder for supporting a greater good. And now there are characters like Sonia, who embody compassion. Sonia lives in the same unforgiving city, and she embodies resilience and moral purity. Amidst the degradation surrounding her, the city's harsh conditions compel Raskolnikov to seek redemption, punishing him to connect with the city and Sonia and to embrace the possibility of atonement. Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment masterfully uses the grim and oppressive setting of St. Petersburg to explore the complexities of its characters' identities, particularly that of Raskolnikov. A pervasive sense of despair mirrors Raskolnikov's internal turmoil. The oppressive urban setting exacerbates his psychological struggles, compelling him to confront the reality of his actions and the moral implications they carry. The city's relentless pressure and encounters with other characters, such as Sonia, force him to reflect on his beliefs and actions. By the end of the novel, the oppressive environment has profoundly altered Raskolnikov's identity from a detached, prideful, intellectual man to a man who begins to acknowledge his guilt and seek a path to moral and spiritual recovery. In this way, Crime and Punishment offers a setting that not only reflects the characters' inner lives, but also actively shapes their journeys of identity and transformation. These reasons above are why Cawthra students should read the book Crime and Punishment. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about Brother by David Chardonnay, a work that has had significant influence on both readers and critics. To set the scene, we are primarily introduced to the focal setting of the story, a city familiar to us all, Scarborough, which is filled with various events that shape the protagonist, Michael's life. We are then introduced to his older brother, Francis, whom he shares his most emotional and monumental adolescent memories with. Francis possesses entirely contrasting personality traits to his brother, embodying a natural, confident, bold, and recognizable figure in the community. This novel represents the everyday realities of life that have shaped Michael and Francis. Brother explores the theme of identity, family, and the immigrant experience in Canada. As students of Cawthra Park Secondary School, a school that celebrates diversity and the arts, reading this book is not only enriching but also essential for encouraging a deeper connection of our surrounding community. Brother is a book that every student at Cawthra should read because it provides the most compelling environment for characters' identities to be observed, inspiring emotional, moral, and critical thinking engagement that resonates deeply with our own experiences. In Brother, the setting of Scarborough plays a key role in shaping the identities of Michael and Frances. This diverse and challenged area forces them to confront their racial and social identities. For example, the two brothers face racial profiling and stereotyping, highlighting the systematic obstacles they must overcome, as well as the economic disadvantages present in Scarborough, create a contrast between the brothers' aspirations and the limited opportunities available to them. For students at Cawthra, reading about their journey can guide them in using the reader response lens to reflect on our experiences and encourage us to think about how our surroundings influence our identity. To summarize, Brother by David Chariandy is more than just a book. It is a catalyst for emotional responses and encouraging critical thought. By reading this book, we become immersed in a moving story that sparks vital conversations about identity and the impact that your environment has on one's life. I urge everyone at Cawthra to engage with its themes and strengthen our collective understanding, as uncovering the story of Brother will be something that you will not regret.
Just moving into the debate section of the podcast, with our first question being,
What challenges does the setting of your book present the characters with that are the most challenging for them to overcome, and do they overcome it?
In The Handmaid's Tale, I think that the biggest challenge we actually see, aside from the main conflict and plot, is our protagonist battling with this idea of the past. As she was still alive before this coup of the government, she recalls what it was like to be an adult in the 80s. She recalls this freedom and liberal lifestyle, and that's sort of beaten out of her in this new dystopian setting. And I think one of the big things we see in a lot of chapters is Atwood really likes to focus on using the characters' memories to sort of build the world of the past and slowly move us to the point in time where we are right now. And we see her struggle a lot with her life before, with memories of her ex-husband or her late husband, we're not sure, and memories of her child. And that's sort of this big internal struggle, because she knows that in this new world there are certain norms and there are certain things which are okay for her to, which are essentially the law. But she knows that it wasn't this way before, and that sort of contrast, I think, really makes her an interesting character to explore, because had she been born into this dystopia, this would have been all she'd ever known. So the protagonist, in a sense, almost embodies and connects to the reader as she remembers this liberal world, which is very much like what the reality was in the 80s.
In Brother, I feel like the setting of Scarborough kind of shows the economical challenge of living in a city where it is less developed, I guess. There is a lot of diversity everywhere, but that kind of leads to racism and just a lot of those challenges. So Frances, the main character, faces a lot of racial profiling and stereotyping, which just highlights the systematic obstacles that him and his brother have to overcome. And there's a lot of disadvantages because him and his brother they have limited opportunities available to them. Their aspirations aren't as they aren't as noticed as everyone else because of their skin tone, their color, and the way where they were raised, basically. So they face a lot of challenges because of where they live.
In Crime and Punishment, the morals of the community definitely affects Raskolnikov. In his community, he's shamed for murdering someone. He's judged, and he's stereotyped. As he is living in the community for longer, and he meets people like Sonia, she's a caring person, and she wants the best for everyone. So as he continues on meeting new people and gaining new experiences, I think he kind of reflects on his past, and he tries to make his life better. and he is stereotyped for what he did prior, but as he grew up, he realized that it was wrong, and he decided to change his life and turn it around to become a better person, and so that his community and his life is better.
I think this pretty well links into our next question, which begs how the novel links to real life to build these kind of relatable character identities. And like you said in Crime and Punishment, I think that's something that a lot of people would be able to relate to, is their past experiences feeling like it defines them as who they are right now, and that's something which I think a lot of readers would be able to connect with, right? I know, in my novel, one of the biggest links in that is that kind of internal battle and this kind of maternal love. This book obviously I think connects with a lot of women more so than anyone else, just because a lot of the emotions and feelings described in the novel of suppression and submission to man, it's something that resonates more so with women than I suppose it would with men. I think it's a very educational novel in that sense, that it brings to light a lot of the day-to-day oppression and microscopic ways that some people feel. But I think that it's a very well-written and very described tale, The Handmaid's Tale. I think it does a good job of sort of articulating those emotions which a lot of people can connect to, whether they've experienced to such a great degree as a very oppressive government or regime trying to take your rights away, or even in such small ways as being told that you getting catcalled on the street was your fault because of what you were wearing, which I'm sure is something unfortunately more people, a lot of people have experienced.
As Sasha said, the internal conflict, I think throughout the story, Raskolnikov kind of realized what he did, and that kind of goes to show a lot in our society today. There's people that are shamed for just the most simplest things in their life. They get shamed for the clothes they're wearing or their community or what religion they believe in, and I think that this novel relates to relatable character identities because people are shamed for what they believe in, and that's not right. And Raskolnikov decided to make himself a better person and build off his past and make himself a better person. So, and a lot of people in our age decide to do that also, to become better people and to resonate with what they've done in the past, and they just try to connect and make themselves better.
In Brother, there is definitely a lot of conflict going on with Francis and how he's always compared to his brother, Michael, who's always compared to his brother Francis, as Francis was always known to be bold and confident and just naturally a recognizable figure in the community. So the novel just kind of represents the everyday realities of his life that both shaped Michael and Francis, but more so how Michael has to fill in the footsteps of his brother and how he has to be attentive for his mother and the struggle he faces just trying to live up to his brother's standards and be that person for his mom. And it can just be relatable because there are a lot of people that just feel as though they need to, with siblings or even friends or just family in general, teachers, how they always have to live up to standards, and how it's always a struggle trying to bring yourself to do something that you feel that you cannot fill because someone is always, I guess, better at doing that than you because you just feel so not worthy, I guess, in a sense.
Okay, yeah, I think that was a great discussion, and that's our time.
Thank you for joining us today on Cawthra Reads. Today's panelists have been Sasha reading Handmaid's Tale, Maya reading Crime and Punishment, myself reading Brother, and I'm your moderator, Lorena. See you next time when we again debate the books that Cawthra senior students should be reading.